Hi, I'm Sandy, and welcome to Life with Sandy. Well, hello. Today is Wednesday, November 9th, and we have one birthday. Today is Walt over at Cat on Point. Today is Walt, that's her hubby. Today's Walt's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Walt. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Well, Walt, I hope you have a great, great birthday. I've always told you in the past that people remind me of somebody. They don't necessarily have to be looking like that particular person, but there's something about their characteristics, whether it's their eyes or their smile or the way they talk or something. They don't look anything like the person I think that they should look like, or not should look like. How would that? People would see them and say, I don't see that. But when I see Walt on Cat's videos, he reminds me of Bradley Cooper. Something about him reminds me of Bradley Cooper. So Walt, I know you're not Walt. Hopefully you don't have to think that that's an insult, because I think he's a good-looking man. Like, I think you're a good-looking man. But I mean, you remind me. My Aunt Rose reminded me of Katharine Hepburn, not Audrey Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn. She didn't look a thing like Katharine Hepburn. People would say, Katharine Hepburn, where did you come up with that? Something about her reminded me of Katharine Hepburn. So that's how I remember people too. If I can't remember somebody's name, I mean, I do a word association when I meet somebody. Like if I go to a party, I know you're supposed to like shake their hand and say, if they go, hi, my name is Sandy, and then you shake their hand and go, Sandy, how you doing? It's nice to meet you, Sandy. Because then the Sandy is reflected in your mind and you can remember that. It would be so much easier. It would just definitely be so much easier. But no, I look at you and I'll think, oh, hi, your name is Sandy. Oh, you remind me of Betty Grable. And then I'm thinking, Betty Grable. You look like Betty. You remind me of Betty Grable. Betty Grable, Sandy. Okay. So the next time I meet you, I'll look at you and I'll think, who are you? Betty Grable. But you're not Betty Grable. You're Sandy. Hi, Sandy. How you doing? A long way around to get to the point, but that's how I remember people's names. They don't have to look like that particular person, but they picked up some kind of mannerism, or they have some little quirk of theirs that just does it. So. And I'm very good at remembering people's names, even with that complicated method. So I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, we had today, Denise's friend does, the one that I work for. She's my friend too now. Well, she's an acquaintance. I always like, people say, she's not a friend, she's an acquaintance. It's not somebody, Denise's best friend, I always tell her she's my friend, and she always corrects me and says, I am not your friend, I am an acquaintance. So now I call her my bestie. So whenever I see her at anything and other people are there and I says, have you met my bestie yet? So she goes with the flow. She has no choice. She goes with the flow. So her name is Debbie, but she's my bestie, which she's not. But that's how I remember her. But where was I going with that train of thought? See, I should have a remembrance in my mind to remind me where I was going with something, because I forget where I was going with that thought. As far as people reminding me of somebody, they don't have to look like them, blah, blah, blah. It'll come in the back of my mind. And when it does, I'll just blurt it out. I'll just blurt it out somewhere along the line. Oh, I remembered. The lady came, her friend, acquaintance, whatever, Leslie was her name, came to help me with our Social Security because Jim retired in 2005. But he wasn't eligible for Medicare until 2014. So when he applied for Medicare in 2014, when he was 65, when we filled out the forms, which I still insist you should have to fill them out when you're younger. So if you're young right now, I know they keep saying that Social Security is not going to be there. They've been telling me that for all my life, that Social Security wasn't going to be there when I got there. Be prepared. When you're young now and you can figure it out, figure it out now, because we messed up big time. because it's so complicated. It really is. And like she had pointed out, when you're working, that if you have a problem with something on your paycheck, you go to HR and then they fix it. If you have a problem with your insurance, you go to your insurance agent and they fix it. If even at work, if you have an issue with something as far as your insurance coverage or, any kind of benefits you have, you go to HR, they fix it. When you retire and you go on Social Security, you're on your own. I mean, you can make an appointment to go to Social Security office and you can sit there for hours even with an appointment. And they're not, in my experience, I'm just talking about my own personal experience. Anytime I dealt with Social Security, they're not very helpful. And they, like you're older and it's harder to understand. And all that being said, Jim and I messed up because when he filed for his Medicare, we had insurance. We had regular insurance. And so we figured he didn't need to worry about filling out for the Part B because we have insurance. And so we didn't need any of the stuff. So we declined the coverage because we didn't think you had to take Medicare at 65. We thought that we would wait because you can wait on your retirement benefits till you're 70 or 70. Well, you can put it off as long as you want. So we just figured the same held true for Medicare. And we thought, well, he has insurance right now. It's taking care of everything. So why are we going to worry about it? So we rejected it. We said we didn't want it. And then come to find out during the year when we were talking to somebody, because I had to go to Social Security. That was it, because I went to Social Security about something because I was retiring and I wanted to get on Medicare and sat for hours waiting for my appointment. And then that's when I found out that we screwed up on Jim's, that he was supposed to. You have to. But because it wasn't the sign-up period, the only reason I could do the things now was I was getting prepared for when I was going to retire. And we found out that we messed up big time. So she said that the sign-in thing is like in November. We had to wait until November to correct it. So when we went to correct it for Jim in November, and then I filed for mine the same year because I was 65 that year. Jim was 66 that year. They assessed a penalty to Jim of $25 a month. So he had to pay $25 more a month because we didn't fill out the form the correct way the year before. And so I said to the lady, so then next year in November, do we have to come back to refile so that we don't have to pay the $25? No, we have to pay the $25 penalty for life. For the life, as long as Jim's alive, he's got to pay $25 extra each month. Now, that's a couple $100 for the year. No. And so we had asked her, who like right now is the sign-up period for Medicare. And so she does that as a side thing. So she came over and was helping us fill out some paperwork and things. But she said that when we were looking at everything, you only have like 60 days to file a claim. And it's been like, 8 years? So she says, you can go over to Social Security. She says, but I think that you're not going to lose, but it doesn't hurt to try. So we're going to make an appointment and go over there and plan on sitting there for hours. It's going to be even longer now because this was pre-COVID. It's even worse now after COVID. But, so, the words to the wise, if you're in your 40s or 50s or even like your beginning of your 60s, don't wait until you're ready to sign up for Medicare. Research it now because it's confusing. It's just downright confusing. Maybe I'm just being ignorant on it, but has anybody else had problems with their Social Security? I'm just kind of curious if Jim and I are the only adults that didn't know how to figure it out because we messed up big time. So anyway, so we did that today. We were going to go to Jimmy's tonight, but then Jimmy called and said that everybody in the house is sick and we're not going there. Tomorrow we can go for our COVID and flu shots because the doctor wanted to wait till Jim was at least 2 weeks from his surgery date before he went. So we're going to go tomorrow and get that done. And then tonight's our big night of Survivor and Amazing Race. I wish they would just re-edit the remaining episodes and put an hour and a half of Survivor and an hour and a half of Amazing Race because the 10 o'clock one is just a repeat. And it would be better to watch a little bit. They could get more in. So, anyway, I'm doing this view because last night I did the other view. because I got 50% of the people like it this way and 50% of the people like it the other way. So we're going to balance it back and forth. That's what we're going to do. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about focusing on the possibilities of your weight loss plan. It's always easy to start off and think, you know what, I'm going to lose this much weight this week, and I'm going to focus on all the possibilities of everything I can do, and it's going to be perfect. And you know what? That first week is probably really good. And maybe your second week is even really good. And then your third week is like, ugh, been there, done that. I don't know. And then you start focusing on the things that can possibly go wrong rather than on the things that have gone right in the last 3 weeks. So don't focus on the potentials for failure. Like you can say, well, like I'm going to be going out to eat on Sunday with my sisters. We're going to go out to lunch. It's the day before weigh-in. And so I could very easily just focus on the failure of when I eat out, you know what? But this week's topic was on eating out and making smart choices. And so we haven't decided where we're going to go to eat yet, but I definitely have a plan in action. I'm going to focus on the possibility that I'm going to do well rather than the possibility that I'm going to fail. And I'm going to plan out my meal. And when I get there, I'm going to stick to my plan. And I'm going to just enjoy the company of my sisters because Mary is finally getting some good news from her doctors. And so she's able to eat out a little bit more. Not that she's eating out more, but I mean, I didn't mean it like that. Now that she's able to go out to eat. And Denise is back from all of her quilting weekends and stuff like that. So she's got a free weekend. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm going to make some really smart choices, and I'm going to focus on the potential of doing really well because I think I can do really well. Because if you focus on, like I said, if you focus on your failures, you're just going to drag yourself down, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it because we all fail sometimes. Maybe not miserably, but I failed miserably this year. I really have. But I'm feeling very confident that I'm going to finish the year strong, and I just think that what you focus on determines the reality of what's going to actually happen. So if I was to just focus on how poorly I did through the whole year, I could just say, well, you know what? I might as well wait till January 1st. What's the point? I got all these holidays coming up. I got all these parties coming up. I have parties that I'm going to this month. I've got Thanksgiving that I'm going to. I'm going to start putting up my Christmas decorations, which means the candy canes, which, I mean, a candy cane's not that many points, but that's if you eat one candy cane, you know. Then you start making your cookies and, you know, you go into your parties and getting together with family. So if I was just to focus on all of that and not on the potential to make smart choices along the way, even with all that going on, I would fail miserably, and I have no intentions of doing that. But so the key to success is to focus on what you can achieve, not what might get in your way. Because we can always figure out something that's going to get in our way. That's very easy to do. It's so easy to do. But I think it's harder to focus on what we can get right. I think that's just human nature to sometimes just think less of what you can accomplish than what you actually can accomplish. I like to always look at the positive things in life. I mean, there's been a lot of negative things happen to me, you know, like through the whole aspect of Jim's surgery and being in the hospital and having the surgeries and everything for the last couple of weeks. Now, that's a lot of negatives. But the positive thing that came out of that was Jim now is very conscious of his weight. And he's got a good start. He's lost almost 20 pounds. And I think he's lost 22, actually, altogether. A lot of it I know is because he didn't eat for how many days. But he could have very easily gained that back once he got home. When we were at the doctor's and we were saying, like, you know, well, obviously he lost a lot of weight when he was in there because he wasn't eating. And he says, you know, that's really somewhat of a false illusion because the fluid bags that they give you, to keep you hydrated, he said that once all of that goes through you, it adds 2 pounds. So many people go to the hospital and they come out and they think, how come I weigh more? I didn't eat, whatever. It's the IV bag. The IV bag is loaded with all of the sodium and nutrients and all of the stuff that you need to keep you from getting dehydrated. And so therefore it adds extra weight. So he said, think of it that way. He said, even though you weren't eating, the fluids was making up for the food in the long run. So, and he says, and some people when they're in the hospital not only eat, but then they then they have the fluids too. So they have the combination. So they think, well, I'm eating hospital food. It's not that great. I'm probably going to go home and lose weight. And then they get discouraged. But that didn't discourage Jim. He's really, really gung-ho. And we went for a walk yesterday. And we didn't go for one today. We probably should have went for one today. But just been kind of busy watching the election results and that. Not all my candidates won. But you know what? That's what an election's all about. So I'm just happy that it was peaceful so far, it seems like. And the things that I wanted to get passed got passed, and the things that I didn't want to get passed, some of them did, some of them didn't. But you know what? That's the way it works. That's just like your weight loss. You'd like to think that if you stayed on your weight plan the whole week that you'd get on the scale and you'd lose 3 pounds. That's not how it works. That's not the reality of life. So you have to face the reality of life. But so I did get some mail today, but I'm not going to show you the envelope because it came to my home address. So, oh, I love these kind of chairs. I have that kind of chair on my back porch. A good friend makes your heart feel at home. Hey, the letter came to Jim and I. Hey, you two. First of all, so glad Jim is home and on the mend. Secondly, we put our love for you together, and we are sending this gift to you so that you can use it however you wish. We are so grateful for you as your friend, and we would do anything to make you happy. Much love from, and it says, thanks for just being you. Susan, Sparklin' Susan. D at Dish with D. Kat on Point. Joan from Joan's Pointed Plate. Sue at Sue Slims Down. And Kim at A Girl in Her Phone. And they sent me a check. And in a little in the comment section it says for friendship. And it's beyond generous. Okay, you guys, you know my rule. I'll be right back. If you're new to my channel, I don't like to cry in public. It's just who I am. It was how I was raised. I find no shame in other people crying in public. It bothers me to cry in public. There's a time and a place. And crying in public, unless it's at a funeral, to me, it's just like I don't know. But anyway, this just reinforces what I was talking about the other day, that there's a purpose in your life and there's a reason that things happen in your life. If I would have lost my weight, and I brought this up the other day, if I would have lost my weight years ago, I would have never met all the good friends that I've met on YouTube. That really, we have such a great community out there. It's like the best community ever. And these are just a few of the people that I've met through YouTube that have really changed my life. And this just means more than you'll ever know. It really does. Just to, like I always say, like Sally Field says, you like me. You really, really like me. I'm just for a loss. I'm at a loss for words. It's it humbles me. It really humbles me, and I'm so appreciative of it, and I just don't know what else to say other than thank you so much for being my friend. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for all your prayers and everything. And YouTube is the best thing that ever happened in my life, other than my family and my faith and things like that I always list. But if I had to list things top of the list, like in the top 10, the friends that I've met on YouTube mean more to me than you will ever know. And all of you for your thoughtfulness. This was totally, totally unexpected. And I'm just at a loss for words. I really am. Don't worry about me not crying in public. please. It's just, I don't know if it's just being the oldest in the family that I had to be the strongest. I was responsible for so many things, and it was just, I just didn't have time to just to show that kind of emotions. If I was to see all of you in person, I would definitely hug you. And that to me shows you how much I appreciate that, because we all know I don't like to hug. But anyway, thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you very much. Well, I got to get out of here before I start blubbering like a blubbering idiot. I know if anybody cries in public, it's fine. I know. But that's who I am. It's who I am. I've got a lot of faults in my life, and maybe this is one of them. I really do think that this might be one of them. This and the fact that I don't hug, I guess, are things that I got to work on. I know that there's no shame in crying in public. I know there's no shame, but anyway, I'm going to end now. I'm going to turn into a puddle over there. So I'm going to sit in my chair and turn into a little puddle. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Thank you for, thank you. Now I'm all messed up. Thank you. Thank you so much. I thank you. I just opened the card and I wanted to show Jim, and so Jim had something he wanted to say.
Yeah, I want to thank Susan, Dee, Kat, Joan, Sue, and Kim for their generous gift of money in the Get Well card. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Tell them how you're feeling.
Oh, I'm feeling a lot better.
We walked a mile yesterday.
We walked up to vote yesterday. I'd say it's probably about maybe a quarter mile or better.
It's a mile. It's a mile altogether because I measured it before we left.
Oh, it's a mile.
Round trip.
And so Sandra let me drive to the doctor's yesterday.
Because
I hate her clown car. And we went to get my stitches out, but the doctor decided after pulling a couple of them, he wanted to leave them in for another week. So hopefully I'll get them all out next week. Thank you very much.